Calculating measurements for uniform half skirt with box pleats. A half skirt is a garment hanging from the waist, usually worn as school uniforms by girls. The box pleated skirt not only gives a neat design, but it also gives plenty of room for movement. At the end of the session, you will be able to identify the various parts of a uniform half skirt, identify the standard measurements required for making a uniform half skirt, and make the required calculations for making a uniform half skirt. Usually, the uniform half skirt is made from a single piece of fabric. The length of the half skirt will be from the waist to the knee. It has box pleats all around the waist, a waistband, belt loops, and an adjustable hook closure. We have to look at each part in detail, make calculations, and add seam allowance and wearing ease to know how to draft and cut the fabric. The standard body measurements required for making a half skirt are skirt length and waist circumference. Here, we have the skirt length as 17.5 inches and waist circumference 22 inches. Let's have a quick look at the skirt design. This half skirt has box pleats all around, a waistband, belt loops, and an adjustable hook closure. The body measurements for making the half skirt are skirt length and waist circumference. The waistband length needs an overlap at the left side of the skirt. This is also where we have the hook closure. For this, we will add 2 inches for the overlap and 1 inch seam allowance to the waist circumference of 22 inches. So we get 25 inches for drafting. A good width for this half skirt waistband is 1.5 inches. For sewing, we need to double the 1.5 inches, which is 3 inches, and add ½ inch seam allowance to either side. This makes it a total of 4 inches for the waistband width for drafting. Since the skirt piece has box pleats all around and one box pleat needs 3 layers of fabric, we need to multiply the waistband length, including overlap without the seam allowance of 24 inches 3 times, which comes to 72 inches. Since this is very long, we will cut this into 2 layers, which means we divide 72 by 2, which is 36 inches, and add ½ inch seam allowance for both the side seams. So finally, we get 37 inches as the skirt width for drafting. We need to add seam allowance to the skirt length of 17.5 inches for joining the waistband and the bottom hem. We will add ½ inch at the waistline and 4 inches for the bottom hem. So we get 22 inches as the total skirt length for drafting. We will make 4 belt loops a bit wider than ½ inch. Since they are folded in 4 layers, we need to cut them 1.5 inches wide. To know how long the loops need to be, we will add 1.5 inches to the finished width of our waistband, which is 1.5 inches, and make a total length of 3 inches. For the adjustable hook closure, we will use a 3.5 inch long and a 1 inch wide strip at the center, and 2 smaller strips of 2.25 inches long and 3 by 4 inches wide. In this session, we have learned the various parts and standard measurements required for making a half skirt. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key points. Uniform half skirt consists of a single piece of fabric and has box pleats all around the waist, a waistband, belt loops, and an adjustable hook closure. The standard body measurements required for making a half skirt are skirt length and waist circumference. We have to understand the design and add seam allowance and wearing ease to the standard measurements and make some calculations for drafting purpose. With that, We've come to the end of this session.